basis. But there was something, I was just telling Lily that, Battlestar was the best job I ever had. There was something magical. The show was good, the material was good, the cast was great, but there was something about working on it that I'd only experienced once before, many, many years ago. And as dark and angst-filled as the show was, the set was teddy bears and daisies. We all just really dug each other, and I made lifelong friends on that show. But there was something going on in the creative mix between the writers and the actors and the directors on that show, and Richard can attest to this. There was some magical thing going on. So although we didn't really know what Starbuck was and where she was going, we all kind of did. I'm sure there was a lot of talk about it in the writers' room, and I talked to the writers a lot because I needed to know what kinds of things I was setting up in season 3 and what kinds of things I was setting up in season 4. And I think they really didn't know for sure until really near the end of the writing process. But when I look back on the episodes, I started putting halos behind Starbuck in season 3. And I know there was a mystery about her, but I couldn't articulate it, and I couldn't really understand what was going on, but it just seemed right. It seemed like part of the fabric of the story we were telling, and I was also trying to lay in visual clues to what I knew was going to happen, for the sharp-eyed viewer, and visual clues for what I thought might happen, and maybe even push things in the direction I thought it should go. So it's not really a hard and fast, yeah, we knew or no, we didn't know. There was this gray mix of creative collaboration, but in a way that we were almost all psychically linked, because we were doing stuff before we even knew what it meant. That all turned out to be correct.
Did you like it, by the way?
Is this on?
Speak right in.
I think it's the greatest show of all time.
What was your favorite, as long as you're there? Hello, Mom. Turn that off. What was your favorite part of the ending? What did you like about the ending the most?
What did I like about the ending? To be perfectly honest, I thought they did the best job they could wrapping up the stories. For me, it was really the individual episodes that were the best, not necessarily the big giant story arcs. The episodes that dealt with terrorism, that dealt with just every aspect of the human condition. I just love the show.
How often do they ever, you probably all can say the same thing about your favorite shows, but how often do they ever end it in a way that everybody's happy? It's almost impossible, and I tell people, no matter what you liked or what you didn't like, it's a little bit, you gotta kind of translate it metaphorically and not look at it logically. Because if you look at it logically, you can pick it apart and say, this wouldn't have happened, why did they do this? But if you look at it metaphorically, how did it make you feel? What's the feeling it left you with? Then I think you come up with maybe where they were trying to go or what Ron was trying to say. But I think one of the big problems with this is that the last season, and it was really hard to work the last season because the last season, everybody, because of the writer's contract, their contracts were up, and a lot of people were getting on other shows. So in order to film, they were filming 2 and 3 shows at the same time. People were flying in, flying out. It was chaos. So it was very hard, to really, I think, keep coherency and to really maybe do all the things you wanted to do because there wasn't enough time. There was a lot of information they had to put out to try to wrap up these storylines, right? And everybody was divided focus. They were having to focus on the new shows they were part of and also working on Battlestar, which they all love. So it was a very, very difficult, challenging last year. So, whatever the flaws or whatever didn't get done, they did an extraordinary job in the midst of all that challenge. I just wish, I don't know how many of you feel the same way, but I think I would have loved to have seen one more year. At least one more year.
Alluding to something that Michael said about, essentially